You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel. And you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is John Kerry. This man is a traitor to this country. And this isn't the first time either. Let me give you the background story in case you're not familiar. So, John Kerry, as you may remember, was a presidential candidate. He was before that a U.S. senator. And during the Obama administration, he was one of the secretaries of state. Hillary Clinton was also. John Kerry had access to top secret information, to classified information, as any Secretary of State would. And his security clearance was never revoked. He is now part of Joe Biden's cabinet. He is the special minister, or whatever you want to call it, the ambassador on climate change. And even though we know there's no such thing, the climate is always changing, not because of man made anything. And even if it were, China and India are behind most of any man made changes in the climate, if that even happens. So, John Kerry is in charge of that. He's riding private planes all over the world in his effort to stop climate change, having a giant carbon footprint. Unlike us little people, he makes excuses because he's not one of us little people. And he still has access to top secret security clearanced information. In fact, he is even beyond that. He has what's known as top secret security clearance with special compartmentalized access. That is the highest you can get, short of being the president, where you can see absolutely anything and everything you want. And as the climate czar for Joe Biden, the Obama third term, he sits on Joe Biden's National Security Council. So he still has access to everything that is going on. And what did he do? Well, he took the top secret security clearanced information, the classified information that he had access to, and he shared it with the Iranians. The Iranians, who are our enemy. I don't care what the Biden administration says. I don't care what the Obama administration said. I don't care how many phony treaties they signed with Iran. One sided treaties that basically have been dictated, the terms of which have been dictated by Iran and were never ratified by the United States Senate in the way any legitimate treaty would be. And I also don't care that John Kerry thinks Iran is not a bad country. We know that they are. They murder Christians and gays on a regular basis simply for being Christian or gay or Jewish, by the way, or American, by the way. We still have American hostages in Iran. That's right. There are still Americans being held captive there. Why they would go there, I don't know. And in fact, I don't really care too much mostly about the hostages in Iran because who goes there these days? We already know from 1979 when they took over our embassy, when they took American hostages there. Those were the good guys, the people working for America. We had on this show the youngest U.S. hostage, Kevin Hermaning, my friend, who was a Marine from Wisconsin and is still a Marine in Wisconsin because you never stop being a Marine. But John Kerry shared information with Iran. Now, it is not clear exactly when he shared the information. This was a story that broke in the New York Times. The New York Times had access to a tape of Javad Zarif. Javad Zarif is the Iranian foreign minister. That's a picture of him. You're looking at him right there. Javad Zarif was whining on a tape about how he didn't have enough power in Iran, how other people in Iran, other leaders had more power, how the Iranian Revolutionary Guard didn't respect him, and so on, didn't listen to him. And he was talking about how John Kerry told him about 200 attacks that Israel had either conducted in Syria or had planned in Syria These were either attacks or spy operations or what have you. As we all know, or you should know if you understand the Middle East, Syria has constantly provoked and begun wars against Israel and always lost. But still, this is costly to Israel. It's costly in terms of lives and so on. And Syria is a sworn enemy of Israel. It is also a country that is very close with Iran. They are Shiites mostly in Syria. There are some Sunni Muslims, but it's mostly Shiite. Now, why is that important? Because the Shia or the Shiites are the majority in Iran and Iraq too, now that we handed it over to them, courtesy of George W. Bush and the Iraq War. So they are heavily, closely tied with Iran. Anything Israel does that Iran finds about, they tell Syria. Anything Israel does that Syria finds out, they tell Iran. Now, it is not clear if John Kerry told about these attacks before they happened, which would endanger Israel and its operatives. It is not clear if he gave information that would have disclosed identities of double agents and spies that Israel had in Syria. He probably did that. It is not clear if he did this while he was a sitting Secretary of State or after, while Donald Trump was president. In fact, some reports say it was while Donald Trump was president and after he was no longer Secretary of State. Other reports say that it was during the time that he was Secretary of State. Either way, this is horrible. John Kerry's a traitor. It is traitorous to share top secret or classified information with an enemy of the United States, even if it were a friend of the United States. But this is a sworn enemy. Syria is an enemy of the United States. It is on, or was, and should still be on, the State Department terrorist list. They sponsor terrorism. They're very tight with Hezbollah, the terrorist group that murdered more Americans than any other group other than Al Qaeda, any other terrorist group other than Al Qaeda. Hezbollah is a Shiite Muslim terrorist group based in Lebanon. Lebanon is basically run by the Shiites and by Iran, and you've got that whole Shiite area. You've got Syria, you've got Lebanon, you've got Iraq, and then you've got Iran. It used to be blocked by Iraq, but courtesy of George W. Bush and American lives, limbs, minds, and treasure, we have now cleared the path. So, John Kerry gave out this information, and as you will remember on this show, months ago on this show, I talked about the criticism of Donald Trump. Everybody on the left and all the media were criticizing Donald Trump. Why? Because he was yanking the security clearances of former Obama administration officials. And as I said on this show, there is no reason why any former administration official should still maintain security clearance. What are they doing with that? We're not monitoring what they're doing with that information. We're not saying, hey, don't give this to our enemies. That's supposed to be understood, but clearly with John Kerry, and I believe many of the others, it's not understood. They think they can do what they want with this information and undermine American interests, American operatives, and our allies' interests and operatives. Who would trust America now that they know that a Secretary of State and then a former Secretary of State will share this information with our and their enemies? Who would trust us? Nobody. Nobody will trust us. But everybody criticized Donald Trump that he was unclassy and not nice for yanking the security clearances of these people. They're not in the administration anymore. What are they doing with that clearance, in that classified information that they have this clearance for? What are they doing? They're making money off of it. They are selling it through consulting. We should not be a party to that. We should not be enabling that. That's how information gets into enemy hands. And everybody was up in arms and said, oh, Donald Trump, if he's kicked out of office, if he loses the election, he's going to share top secret security information and trade on it and share it with our enemies. Well, guess what? He didn't. There's no evidence he has. But there sure is evidence John Kerry did it. And we will talk more about this because I warned about this after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit buynighthero.com. That's buynighthero.com. Order now.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we are talking about traitorous John Kerry, the climate change czar, the global warming czar for the Biden administration, and the former Secretary of State, then Secretary of State under Barack Obama. He leaked classified information. He tattled on our ally Israel. He endangered American interests in the Middle East. And he did this either while he was Secretary of State or after. So he committed treason. He committed a violation of his duties as Secretary of State and as a former Secretary of State. And this is absurd. And this is why I have been saying nobody that leaves government should maintain their top secret security clearance. The only reason they maintain it is to get access to information they should no longer have access to. They are not working for us anymore. And in John Kerry's case, never working for us, but definitely not collecting a paycheck from us. They're pimping us and collecting a paycheck, which is what many of these people do. They trade on their access to top secret information, to classified information, and they sell it to the highest bidder. They call it consulting. You know what? Go consult on something else, not information that's classified. That's what John Kerry was doing. And he was apparently giving it away for free to Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. There was a tape of him, more than, I think it's 3 hours long, of him ranting that the New York Times got a hold of. And Javad Zarif, the foreign minister of Iran, he's basically there to serve as the moderate storefront for the radical extremist Iran. And that's how he gets information. And idiots like John Kerry, evil idiots, useful evil idiots like John Kerry, give out the information. And then Iran uses it to hurt American interests and American allies who will not trust us when they know this kind of stuff is going on. This is very blatant and very egregious. So, of course, I'm being told by the leftists John Kerry denies it. Well, of course. Do you think John Kerry's going to say, yeah, I did it? Yeah, I had top secret security clearance. Yeah, I had special compartmentalized access to information. And I gave it to Iran, the extremist terrorist sponsor state that funds Hezbollah, that murdered more Americans than any other group other than Al Qaeda, that funds Hamas, that has alliances with North Korea, another one of our sworn enemies. Yeah, I gave them information. So sue me. He's not going to say that. Of course he's going to deny it. That is to be expected. I would be surprised if he said anything but that, but he still did it. You think Javad Zarif is ranting to somebody about this because he made it up? I don't think so. He had specific numbers and information. He said there were 200 Israeli attacks and or operations in Syria. That's pretty specific. And he had other specific details if you want to read the New York Times story about this. So, of course, Iran denies it as well. Would you expect them to admit it too? Now, I kind of expect them maybe to admit it slightly because they would enjoy saying, yes, that's right, the great Satan America told on the great Satan Israel. But they're not going to do that. They're stupid, but not that stupid. In fact, they're not even really stupid. They're pretty clever and evil. They're not dumb. The dummy here is John Kerry. Unfortunately, he's getting away with it because he's a liberal, he's a Democrat, and he works with Joe Biden. Those three things give you immunity. You know, they used to say that Ronald Reagan was the Teflon president. No, Ronald Reagan was constantly attacked. The Teflon people are the people in the Biden administration. They're not even attacked. So nothing sticks to them because there's never anything thrown at them. And when something is thrown at them, it's thrown like a 2-year-old plays softball. It's barely there. It barely registers. So John Kerry did this. Now, like I said before the break, everybody was saying, oh, what's Donald Trump going to do? The New York Times questioned if Donald Trump will share classified information, if he'll trade on it. He didn't do that. John Kerry did it. And I don't think, like I said, that he's the only one. I believe many in the Biden administration have done it in their previous incarnations, in the Obama administration, and thereafter. And you can bet they will do it again. That's what they do. They have no loyalty to this country. They hate this country. They want to destroy it. And part of doing that, a way to do that, is to give away our secrets and destroy our relationships with our best allies, like Israel. So John Kerry did that. I've got 3 tweets. They cover a lot of what I've said, but take a look. This is why Trump was right to yank former Obama administration officials' top secret security clearance, and why he should have yanked John Kerry's, which he didn't, by the way. Why didn't he? I've always believed, forgot the D there, when you're out of government, you should lose your clearance because of stuff like this. And why do you need it? You don't need it. The argument is these people would advise current presidents. No, they won't. Current presidents are not going to ask people from a former administration. They have advisors. They're not going to ask them. Donald Trump was never going to consult anyone from the Obama administration. He's not a moron. And nobody in the Biden administration was going to consult anybody in the Trump administration because they hate America. Donald Trump was America first. So these are diametrically opposed positions. Now take a look at my second tweet on this. All the liberals and media predicted that Trump would use his inside knowledge and top secret information to give it to enemies after he left office, but they never predicted the real threat. that liberals would do it. I did on my show, this show. Exhibit A, John Kerry. All right, let's take a look at my last tweet on this topic. I've always said there is no reason why former administration officials get to keep their top secret security clearance. John Kerry got and disclosed classified info to Iran during the Trump administration, and that's part of the story, when he was no longer in office and shouldn't have had access to it. And by the way, what other information did he share with what other countries or third parties? He should be hauled before a committee to answer about that. Unfortunately, the Republicans don't control the House and they don't control the Senate. So they have very little leeway to do any such inquiries. They can send letters, they can threaten, but they've got no power. And this is why it was so important to win those Georgia Senate seats. And hopefully we can win at least one of those back in the upcoming elections against Raphael Warnock. We'll see. We really need to have an inquiry into this. John Kerry really needs to be called to the mat to answer. What other information has he shared with what other third parties? Under oath. He needs to be sworn under oath. Unfortunately, we can't see that now because of the numbers in the Senate or the House. All right, when we come back, a very famous food publication is dumping meat. And I think this is, unfortunately, the beginning of the end. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I really do. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on back. By the way, with regard to John Kerry talking to the Iranian foreign minister, Javad Zarif, that we were talking about before the break, his leaked conversation was with an Iranian economist who is his friend, a guy named Saeed Leilaz. And in that conversation, he also said, remember Iran shot down a Ukrainian airplane? Do you remember that? A lot of people died, and Iran said it was a mistake, and they didn't admit to it till 3 days later, saying they didn't know that they had done it. And he even says on this tape that they knew they did it. They knew they did it right away. It was done on purpose. It was not an accident. And he gave a lot of other information, but basically he said he had no power. He's a public face. He's on a short leash from Ayatollah Khamenei and some of the other Iranian leaders who have the real power, and so on. So there were a lot of details in this conversation that never would have been in that conversation if it was false. I do believe everything he was saying, and I believe John Kerry leaked to him. It jives with everything that John Kerry has done is in his entire history in the American public eye. From the time that he came back from Vietnam and attacked this country while our troops were still in Vietnam, while many of them were dying. There are a lot of stories that he faked his injuries to get his medals, like his Purple Heart. And he, again, demonstrated and protested against our men that were still there, getting blown up, getting killed, getting sliced up. And John Kerry did that. And then he has a record of being against our ally Israel, of being against America. He's a far leftist. He hates this country. He has no sense of responsibility to this country's interests, no sense of patriotism. He is patriotic, not to America, but to our enemies and to the idea of the destruction of America. Who needs that? Who needs it? Not us. All right. Now, Epicurious. Have you ever heard of Epicurious? Well, it's a very fancy food publication from Condé Nast. Condé Nast, very fancy publishing house, has a lot of magazines you've heard of. They have a lot of food and travel publications. And Epicurious has decided that they are not woke enough, so they're going to be more woke. And look at what they're going to do. We've got a couple of tweets. So today we announced that Epicurious, this is from yesterday, is cutting out beef. It won't appear in new Epi recipes, articles, newsletters, or on social. This isn't a vendetta against cows or people who eat them. It's a shift about sustainability, not anti-beef, but pro-planet. What? No, it isn't. They're liars. All right, so I have a tweet in response. Check out what I had to say. So basically, your name is false advertising. You're not Epicurious. You're only Vegicurious. That isn't pro-planet. It's pro-PETA. You know PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. It's really people eating tasty animals is my kind of PETA. But anyway, they're not for the ethical treatment of animals. And if animals aren't culled and hunted, there will be a human sustainability issue. Period. We need hunters. We need people to cull the beef population. Cows need to be culled. We've got a lot of them. They're saying, I read some of their other tweets and some of their PR materials. They're saying that beef is not good for America. It has too big of a carbon footprint. Cows fart. Yeah, they produce CO2. Guess what? You know who else farts? Humans. Maybe we should eliminate them. I mean, just to save the environment. And also, cows eat so much of what's grown on the land, and it's not an efficient use, and it's not fair to hungry and poor people. And again, cows fart. Oh, and by the way, did I mention cows fart? This is a big thing with these people, which is absurd because all animals fart. Should we stop eating animals? Does that mean they're going to stop farting? They're not going to procreate? The only way you stop that problem is you limit animals, you cull them. And you know what's inhumane and unsustainable? Killing animals just to kill them. You kill them for food, not just for sport, but for food. And in my religion, by the way, not that you care, we do not kill for sport. We only kill for food. And that's why we don't really hunt in my religion, because we have certain slaughtering rules and laws, so we can't hunt them. But that doesn't mean I'm against hunting. I'm all for hunting. I believe, I'm libertarian on this. If you want to hunt, you should be able to. I also believe it's necessary. I see deer running in the middle of urban settings and getting killed every day by cars. All the time I see dead deer in the middle of the freeway. Why is that? Because they're hungry. And when they are hungry and they can't find food, they're getting braver and they're getting killed. That's what's inhumane and unsustainable. We need to cull them and we need to eat them. Cows, I know. Beef is from cows. I get it. But what's the difference? Why are cows sacred? This isn't a Hindu country, so what's going on here? What's going on here is this is the beginning of the end. What I'm saying to you is this. People for the ethical treatment of animals has won. These animal rights crazies have won. Are people still eating beef? Are they still eating animal products and consuming them? Of course they are. I still am. Most of you watching still are. But the problem is the growth of the vegan class and the vegetarian class is tremendous. And this is becoming a growing market. And people like us are looked down upon as we're unethical. We eat beef. It's not fair to the environment. It uses too many resources. Cows fart. I don't believe in any of this. It's baloney. But people believe this as the younger generations get more and more propagandized, as they get more and more brainwashed into this false woke culture that is destroying America. They are going to buy into this. And I do believe that in 100 years or less, it is going to be outlawed or thought of as very backwards and very socially unacceptable to eat not just beef, but animal products, period. That is coming. That is the trend. Just watch. I won't be around to see it. Most of you won't be around to see it. But it's coming. And it's coming a lot faster than I ever predicted. So Epicurious and organizations like that, publications like that I used to respect and get really great gourmet recipes from, they have done a marketing calculation, as I've told you about other corporations. They've decided they're not really woke, they're virtue signaling. And they have decided our audience, the younger audiences, have been brainwashed to believe in this, and we need their money. So we will go the way they want us to go. I mean, when you think about it, Epicurious really isn't doing anything, because we can still find beef recipes on many gourmet sites all over the net. And anyway, there are many other animals that use a lot of resources and that are allegedly bad for climate change, which is a junk science. You know, there are many other animals that fart and are bad for the environment, according to these crazy people. Why aren't they outlawing all animal products from their recipes? Why aren't they doing that? Because they're phony. This is virtue signaling. Don't believe the hype. All right, when we come back, speaking of the junk science of global warming and climate change, Joe Biden and his energy secretary, Jennifer Granholm, who used to be governor of my native state of Michigan, thank God she's gone, but unfortunately we've got an imitator who replaced her at this point. They have some programs designed to kill North Dakota and to kill the rest of America. And we'll tell you what they are after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, we all know that North Dakota depends on its oil industry. Oil, we are the second largest oil producing state in the United States, only behind Texas. And if North Dakota were its own country, it would be among the top oil producing states. So we know that energy policy is very, very important to the long-term survival of North Dakota and its economy. The Dakota Access Pipeline is under attack. It's under legal challenge, and the Biden administration is being urged. We showed you letters from celebrities and others. Aaron Rodgers signed a letter. You know, he's a multimillionaire quarterback. He's getting auditions on Jeopardy! He doesn't care about you. He's got his job. He's making a ton of money. He doesn't care about the working class little guy who works on the Dakota Access Pipeline and relies on that money, or all the businesses where the workers eat at, where they buy supplies, hotels where they stay, gas stations where they go. He doesn't care about that. He does not care. Energy policy is important to the long-term survival of this state. And unfortunately, Joe Biden's energy policy is going to destroy North America, destroy America and North Dakota. And as we have told you from the beginning of the Biden administration, he canceled pipelines permits. He canceled the Keystone XL pipeline permit. Now all those people are out of jobs. Millions of dollars in business is gone in a heartbeat, with one signature. He can do the same to the Dakota Access Pipeline, and he might. Right now, it is under legal challenge. We've been telling you about that case since the show began with the lawsuit that is before a federal judge in Washington, D.C., and we will get to that in a second. But Joe Biden has said that he wants electric cars to be the future of America. He wants electric, battery-operated cars to be America's future. And you know what's going to happen? People aren't going to be using gas anymore. They won't use oil. What's going to happen to all those jobs in North Dakota? They're going to go away too. Bye-bye. So he's been pushing these batteries for these electric cars big time. And he went to visit this factory last week at this company called Proterra. Now, Proterra is an interesting company. Why? Because Joe Biden's chosen far-left energy secretary, Jennifer Granholm, who made a mess of Michigan, made a huge mess of Michigan with her progressive policies. Then she became a professor. Where else? But Berkeley, of course, the haven of the far-left hate America crowd. Now she's the energy secretary. She owns $5 million of stock in Proterra. She used to be on their board until right before she was confirmed as energy secretary. Now, she was required, as part of being energy secretary, to divest herself of that $5 million in stock. By the way, this is how these leftists, how phony they are. They claim to be against capitalism for you and for me, but not for themselves. She's not giving that $5 million to anybody else. She's keeping it. Cha-ching. She didn't have a lot of money. Her parents were very rich. They owned a bank in Canada. She's Canadian. She pretended that she was like one of the boat people and one of these boat people immigrants in her campaign commercials. She's from a rich family, but she became rich on her own from cashing in on being a leftist capitalist who's a faux leftist. Only leftist for us, but not for themselves. So she's got this $5 million in stock. She was required to divest herself, and guess what? She still has not. And yet Joe Biden is promoting this company in which his energy secretary owns $5 million in stock. Conflict of interest much? Meanwhile, this company is going to be heavily subsidized under Joe Biden's boondoggle $2 trillion infrastructure bill. This is what they mean by infrastructure: investing in companies that cannot make it on their own to put our industries in North Dakota, Texas, and other states in America out of business. So you, the North Dakotan taxpayer, are going to subsidize this electric car battery company, Proterra, to put you out of business, to put the state out of business. That's what's going on here. Not good at all. This has got to stop. This is a huge conflict of interest. If this happened in the Trump administration, you would never hear the end of it. Never. And Trump would have to pull any investment in a company like this from the infrastructure bill. Joe Biden isn't going to do that. And Jennifer Granholm has not sold her stock yet. Why? She's waiting. She's waiting for that bill to come through, for that investment to come through, because then her $5 million in stock could be $10 million, could be 15 or 20 million. Who knows? This is the real insider trading. The little people like you and me, we don't get to do this. And if we did, if we had insider information like this, we got the president to visit a company we own stock in to make us make more millions. If we did that, we would get sued by the federal government civilly and criminally for insider trading. She isn't. This is how the big guy, the liberal big guy, the liberal fat cats, and she's one of them. She may be thin in stature and in her figure, but she's a liberal fat cat. This is how they make money at your expense and destroy your industries, destroy America, destroy North Dakota. So that's what they're doing. In addition to that, Joe Biden's policy on the climate, on climate change, this junk science theory that has not been proven. It's going to go hand in hand with this to destroy North Dakota. He says he's going to cut emissions in half in the next 8 to 10 years. How is that going to happen? By, again, getting rid of oil, getting rid of the gas industry that we have, the oil industry in North Dakota, getting rid of gasoline, and switching to these things like this electric car battery that's going to make Jennifer Granholm a ton of money. And then going hand in hand with that, it's the triple whammy. The Dakota Access Pipeline lawsuit that is going on, that the Standing Rock Sioux filed, not in federal court in North Dakota where they knew they would lose. Nope, they went to the more liberal circuit. They went to Washington, D.C. They went to federal district court there. And they got this judge, James Boasberg, to order the halt to the Dakota Access Pipeline. And as we've been reporting on this show, the Court of Appeals overruled him. Guess what? He's still looking to shut this down. He gave the Army Corps of Engineers a deadline in early May to tell him if it's feasible to shut down the pipeline, even though the Court of Appeals said no, to shut down the pipeline while it's doing its environmental assessment. Huh? This is going to be appealed. It had better be appealed. And hopefully the Court of Appeals will stop this. This is why it is so important that you elect presidents who can pick judges. Because this judge and then the Court of Appeals judges could put North Dakota out of business if that Dakota Access Pipeline shut down. And hopefully it won't be. Now, when we come back, tied to this, Joe Biden has a choice for his top science and energy advisor. And this person's got connections to Jeffrey Epstein. We'll tell you about it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month. So call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is now seeking qualified applicants for promotion commercial producer position in our Bismarck Beck location. This position will assist Beck News and Beck Sports. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, Joe Biden has nominated a guy named Eric Lander to be his top science and technology advisor. So, he would head the Office of Science and Technology. Well, the problem is that this guy was funded by the late Jeffrey Epstein. Now, a lot of people got funds from Jeffrey Epstein. Many of them did not know a lot about him. They did not know that he was a child molester and basically a child sex trafficker. He trafficked these women to his friends, reportedly Prince Andrew, possibly Bill Clinton, who was allegedly seen on Epstein Island and was on flights with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of people didn't know, but a lot of people did know. And that is the question. And even liberal Democrats want to ask Eric Lander what he knew about Jeffrey Epstein, because he was at meetings with Jeffrey Epstein even after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted and served time in jail. And at that point, a lot of information had already seeped out about who Jeffrey Epstein was and what he was involved with. In fact, we told you on this show that Chelsea, now her name escapes me, but the very talentless comedian, Chelsea Handler, that she went to Epstein Island for dinner even after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted and had served jail time. So it was known. It had come out what he was involved with. Did everyone look at his criminal history in the case? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're getting millions of dollars from a guy, are you going to look into it? Do you have a responsibility to look into it? Or are you very easily swayed to look the other way? That is a question that should be asked to this guy, Eric Lander, who met with Jeffrey Epstein twice in 2012 and 2019. Why? Because he headed the Broad Institute, which was a consortium between Harvard and MIT, two of the top research and science institutions in the country, geniuses at both these places, but also good PR at both these places. There are geniuses, a lot of smaller, less well-known institutions. His organization, the Broad Institute, got a lot of money from Jeffrey Epstein. So did he know about Jeffrey Epstein and look the other way and willingly meet with a child molester, a child trafficker? I think it's a good question. I'm not saying that everybody investigates or knows about all of their donors. Sometimes money comes from unsavory places and you don't know you're supposed to look. Sometimes people present well and you don't know that they're actually molesters. But I think these questions need to be asked. And I think if Donald Trump had nominated this guy, he would have been dead in the water. But there is a double standard. We all know this. We know this. All right. Now, on a different topic, the Black Lives Matter stuff that keeps going on in America. So now a lot of people are protesting over a guy named Andrew Brown. Andrew Brown Jr. Who was he? Well, he was a 42-year-old. They say, oh, he was shot in the back of the head. He was assassinated by police. On TV, you don't hear anything about him except he was an innocent black man killed by police, another unarmed black man attacked by the police. No. Yes, he was killed by the police. We don't know what happened. The police only released a 20-second video clip to the family to watch. They actually didn't release it. They showed it to them. We have not seen the video, and I don't think we should rush to judgment the way LeBron James does, calling for harm against police officers who do their jobs. Listen to who Andrew Brown was. Andrew Brown was a drug dealer, and not only just a drug dealer, he had 180 pages of criminal records dating back to 1988. 180 pages. Now, I've defended criminals. I've told you that on this show. And when I look at criminal records, there's at least one criminal record per page. Sometimes there's 2, 3, 4, or 5. This guy's got 180 pages. I've never seen anybody with a criminal record even a quarter as long as that. I've seen somebody with a 30-page record, and that was a person who kept driving on a suspended license getting traffic tickets. That was a 30-page. That's the longest I've seen, 30 to 36 pages. This guy had 180 pages. That's like 6 times what I've seen. This is absurd. And authorities had been following him for years. They had undercover operatives that bought from him. This guy was killing other Americans. He was dealing in coke and methamphetamine. He sold it to an informant. This guy was no good. Now, does that mean he deserved to be killed? Does that mean he doesn't deserve his constitutional rights? Of course not. I'm not saying that. But I don't know what happened yet, and neither do you. I don't know why he was shot in the back of the head. I don't know if he resisted arrest. I know that police were there to serve him with a warrant and probably arrest him because he was a drug dealer with a very long criminal record. Usually people with 180 pages of criminal records, they're behind bars for the rest of their lives. They usually have many sentences over. We know that a lot of states have the 3 times rules, the 3 strikes rules. This guy had 180 pages. Now, some of the crimes on those pages could have been petty, but I'll bet you a lot of them weren't. He's dealing in meth and coke. So we will be following this story. Now, we told you about Patrice Kahn Colors. Patrice Kahn Colors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, has now 4 mansions. You can't read about it on Facebook because if you post the New York Post story, they say it violates their community standards. She's looking for a 5th house on the islands. Well, she spent $26,000 on a Reform LA Jails event at a hotel where the rooms cost at least $600 a night or more. And we will tell you more about it and the famous celebrity that she is friends with, who we all should hate because this person hates America, tomorrow on this show. Remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.